When here I am, I make a fucking clownery of it. Look at this shit. Look at this shit over here. Look at this. Look, 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 look. Now, look at me over here. Mr. fucking Perfect. Calling it, doing the fucking executions. Boom, 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 boom. And telling everybody behind the scenes, watch how they react. There's still going to be people that ignore what I just fucking did right there. Proving that there's nothing that I'm going to be able to do for certain individuals to make them realize that what I'm teaching works, that it works well in my hands, and you can learn it too. Perception. Go back to being a magician for a second. If I hold a deck of cards in my hand and I show you a card and I ask you to sign that card, and then I tell you to put the card back in the deck anywhere the fuck you want, and then shuffle that deck, what do you think the chances are of me cutting to the card that you signed first attempt? I'm going to tell you it's 100%. I'm going to do that 100 fucking percent. How can I say that I have 100% confidence that I can do that? Because I have a PD array in that deck of cards. Huh? What the fuck did you just say? Yep, sure am. What I'm suggesting to you is that I could have a stripper deck. Now, some of you think that's a naked woman on a pole. That's not what I'm talking about. A stripper deck is where the deck of cards is cut narrow going to one end and left the same width of a natural produced playing card. So when I tell you to take a card out, I'm offering you the deck. When you take the card out, I'm going to reverse the deck in my hand, and I tell you to stick the card back in there. It doesn't matter how many fucking times you shuffle that card. As soon as I grab the deck, I can feel that wide separation amongst the narrower side, and it'll cut right to that card. Now, you don't know that as the person watching the magic trick, but as a magician, I know that there ain't nothing you can do to fuck this up. I'm going to be able to cut through it right away. And what is my resource in knowing that I can do that? I know that there's going to be one card, one fucking candle that's going to give me what I need as the edge. You see how this made that transition from magic to trading? You have to have a gimmick. You have to have a novelty. You have to have something as a real catalyst to get you into a trade. But that cannot be retail horseshit that has no bearing on why price goes up and down. Oh, he's just using support resistance. Okay, how the fuck am I picking the right support and the right resistance every single fucking time? Nothing extra, nothing wrong. Ask anybody. Ask anybody. What time frame? Pick a time frame and ask everybody, show us all the support levels and the resistance levels, all of them that are available. And then say, now, out of all the ones that's on that time frame, which one is the one going to be used next for a buy or a short? Crickets. Crickets. Everybody's lost their fucking voice, folks. Laryngitis is now spreading. It's the new fucking epidemic. There it is. Put your mask on. That's how it's going to be. They always come at you after the fact to tear you down. That's the accuser. That's the enemy. And some of you are foolish, and you listen to that stuff, and you ignore and you forget what you just witnessed and what you were a part of, and you watched happen. With detail, this is where it should go. And the time, because I'm using 1 minute charts. I don't have the luxury to outline every intricate detail. So when I do a review, I say this is the catalyst. That's what was going on behind the scenes. This is the reasons beyond what I pointed to. This is the reasons why I chose that to happen. And you all have the luxury of watching me do it right, correctly, consistently, every time I do it. And I'm leaving the decision, do you see value in that? Some think that, oh no, this is all bullshit. You're not telling me when to get in, there's no stop loss, so this is all bullshit, it's trash. Your Telegram's trash. You're an asshole. You're an idiot and you're broke. You want me to feel guilted into giving you trades. I've been around the block for a long time, folks. I've seen this shit. You're never going to make me feel like I got to do more. You're never going to do that. But for the people that are really wanting to learn, they're seeing it. They see the value and they're like, wow, this is such a wonderful resource to tap into for the time that you've been offering it to us, being able to spend time with you over the charts, seeing it and watch how it pans out. That's something that You can't put a sticker of price on because that's experience that's gone. There's not gonna be another group that's gonna have that time like you've been spending it with me. And it sounds crazy, like I'm like I'm Elvis and some shit, right? That's not what I'm talking about. Again, I'm not Gandhi. I'm not some kind of deity. I'm just saying that I'm offering that time with you here that I'm not going to do anymore in any medium. I chose to do it this year because I needed you to understand the separation between what your perception of me as a mentor or a person, what you think I can and can't do. Like literally, folks, like literally. Competitions or trading competitions, like you don't even see what I'm doing trading. Like you don't see it. So I'm able to do far better than feeling any pressure of coming out here and saying, okay, here's millions of people watching me. And there's going to be this overwhelming desire to see me do it wrong. And that's pressure. What if I choke? What if I got mom's spaghetti on my shirt? That's an Eminem thing, in case you didn't know. I'm not scared. If I was scared, I wouldn't be doing this. If I didn't have confidence in being able to do it consistently, I never would have started doing it. My image is nothing. I could care less about my image. My lectures and my teaching is where the heart of the matter is. That's what matters. And when I talk to you, I'm trying to speak to the rational side of you. What do you see? I have a lot of fun doing, the little stunts I do online for my own pleasure. Because I know there's people that's not going to believe anything I do. And to me, that's fascinating. It's just almost like, wow, like that is ass backwards. Like that's really crazy. Like you're literally going to deny every single day results, every single day, right? And then seeing the satisfaction of seeing people say, you know what? I didn't need to see you do this, but the fact that you did it just gave me a huge bump in confidence, and knowing that this is 100% rigged. You can see it before it happens when you understand what you're looking for. And it gives you a visibility that helps you fight off this uncertainty, this fear of missing out a move. See, that's the problem with all this retail horseshit. You can't tell me when the supply zone is going to form. You can't tell me when the demand zone is going to form. So you are forced to not predict price, and you must have to react to it. And I'm sorry, to react means that you're behind the eight ball. That means you're behind something. Something has to happen as a catalyst that you have to chase. That's not me. I want to know where that shit is. Okay? It needs to be in my scope before I squeeze the trigger. I need to be ahead of that target, so allow it to walk into my crosshairs. That's being in front of the charts at the right time. Knowing that your mark is going to walk in their crosshairs. That is time-based delivery. Anything outside of time-based delivery is guesswork. I don't guess. I have zero fucking fear of telling you what I think is going to happen and where it's going to go next. I have zero fucking fear. When I do it, I'm confident it's going to do it. Because everything that I understand about price is signaled that it's going to do it. So I have everything firing that this is good. This is high probability. I know it's going to see happen. Every other school of thought, every other mode of trading, analysis concepts, none of them have that. None of them have that. And that's why they teach you to accept the randomness of price. Winning and losing in trading is a random, even distribution. No, it's not. The fuck it is. That's not true. That is not true. Because every time you take a fucking trade, if you had 3 losing trades, the next trade you're taking isn't based on sound logic. It's based on fear. Because you're going to watch your setup form. You're going to know it's forming. Then you're going to watch it form, but you're going to be scared shitless to take anything on it. And then once it runs a little bit, you're like, fuck, okay, well, I know it's probably going to go there now. Let me just get in here. And I have confirmation now. No, you're fucking chasing price. That's what's confirming. You're confirming that you're chasing price. So you're not following your model. You're not following your fucking model. So there's no even distribution of wins and losses that are randomized. That's not the only thing that's random is your ability to stay within the guidelines of your model. That's what's random. That's why supply and demand zones are horseshit and bullshit. That's why fucking trend lines are bullshit because they're too subjective. You know what? There ain't no subjectivity to the first presented fair value gap. There's no fucking way somebody's going to argue that that didn't exist right there at that time. You're not going to argue about the first presented fair value gap on Monday and extend that throughout the entirety of the week. Once you understand what that is, that's real jade. We're all going to have the same first presented fair value gap on the week. We're all going to have that. We're all going to have the same first presented fair value gap between 1:30 in the afternoon and 2 o'clock in Eastern time for the PM session, any given fucking day. We all have that. I've given you that gift. I've given that to you. That no one can hide it from you. They cannot take it from you. They can't pry it from your fucking hands. They can't tell you that it doesn't fucking work. I have pissed in their fucking face and they thanked me for it. Because they could have done this in front of me and you, where they could have ran that fucking market the other direction and fucked me in front of all of you. They could have done that. Given enough opportunity, they will start doing it. But that's just one of 81. One of 81. And I've already told you, don't fear them taking 24 hours into the equation. Because that same time, 4:14 p.m., when the market would be the last print, and the market would settle, okay? You see them ring the bell at 4 o'clock, ding, 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 and they applause like they did something that day, like they won something. And then for another 14 minutes, they allow it to settle. And it's usually, unless it's earnings season, 4 o'clock to 4:14 p.m. Eastern time, it's kind of lethargic and doesn't do anything. But that price, the last print at 4:14 p.m. and the first print at 6 p.m., watch. I'm telling you, nothing's going to change. The only difference is there's going to be candles between those two that normally aren't. You won't need to worry about having the electronic and regular trading hour tab toggled anymore. Then it's just going to be simply just knowing what time it is. Because those still will work. And I can't wait till they shift and they show this and it's still there. And then you're going to know who the fuck I am. Then you're going to know. You're going to fucking realize then, this motherfucker, yep, I'm that guy. I'm him. I'm him. Been trying to tell you a whole fucking time. And guess what? You just want to kick and scream and deny it. Who are you? I think he is. So I didn't want to do a shotgun Saturday. I was really just looking for a nice peaceful weekend, no troublemaking at all. And I got on the X and saw some people talking some bullshit. Larry Williams is the real author of SMC, and I copied him and I copied that, and they showed you little pictures. What the fuck? Like they're like, oh my goodness, this is where SMT came from. When I told you I was inspired by Larry Williams, by his relative strength and analysis. And that's why I told you to buy his book. Those things had impressions on me. But he doesn't tell you when that divergence is going to form. Would you like to know when they form? Give me a number 1 with a plus symbol after it. If you would like to hear me tell you in the next 5 minutes when to anticipate smart money divergence. SMT, smart money tool, smart money technique. I never settled in on a name on it. I can't see your posts because I'm walking around the house. So I'm hearing some things blinking and blipping in the background, so I'm assuming that you probably are doing that now. When you see a market move into a macro, now a macro is me showing you how it's been codified, coded, scripted to run for inefficiency or liquidity. That's what that 20-minute interval every single hour, it does this. Now, if you understand that that is where price is going to seek to jump to reach for, to draw towards, move in the direction of a obvious inefficiency above or below the market, or an obvious relative equal high or low, or a singular high or low, like a London session high or a London session low. Sometimes they're not always a relative equal low or relative equal high. In London session, that one we treat a little bit differently because it can be a singular high, not relative equal highs. So a SMT divergence will form usually just before the delivery from a macro. So in other words, you're going to get that price run high. Like imagine for a moment, the market's been rallying, and it goes up, creates a short-term high, and it trades off. And we'll say we're watching the NQ, Nasdaq, and then some period of time, and I'll leave that up to the time frame you're looking at because this forms on every time frame. And then it rallies up and makes a slightly higher high than the previous high in Nasdaq as we approach the beginning of a macro time. It can happen inside of a macro time. If it does, then it's super fucking star. It's gonna rock. It's gonna be a rock star performance because you got best of both worlds right there at the same time. But usually S&T will form just before a macro, and that stop hunt is the damage that frees the market to deliver under the basis of that macro time. Because remember, the macro is where all traffic is removed. It's like when air traffic control says, okay, we cleared airspace, you have the right to have a safe landing here on runway so-and-so. That's what a macro is. It's air traffic control to allow all things get the fuck out of the way. Now we're going to the liquidity or the inefficiency above or below the marketplace. The SMT divergence is the damage before that's permitted. So Larry Williams did not fucking teach that. He doesn't even believe the things, like he thinks that there's no them against us. And that's where we defer. Like that was the separation point with me because I love him to death. I'm so thankful. I'm absolutely thankful that I was exposed to his stuff, and it came by a mailing list. I didn't find him any other way. Because I bought books from Trader's Library and had it mailed to my house. I was placed on a mailing list, and I got a hold of Ken Roberts' shit too. So it could have been from his mailing list because he was selling the mailing list that everybody bought his course. So one of those two, I was placed on a mailing list that Larry Williams purchased, and then he direct marketed his course stuff, and I started buying it. And when I got to the point where I started seeing that there's measures of manipulation here that I can't escape. It's there. I don't know what's going on, but I know it's going on. And I do think it's a them versus me. They're stopping me out. I'm on the right side of the trade. And if I was not stopped out, it was going to go to my target and I would have had the full run. I learned that real quick in my development, but I couldn't overcome it. I couldn't see it. So when I started looking for time cycles, and don't take that out of context, people are going to use that sign that right there. I don't believe in time cycles, okay? But when I started looking at Fibonacci time, when I started looking at the element of repeating phenomenon, I didn't go in looking for it to occur at the same times. I just went in there looking for data. And I started seeing this overlap of everything in the British pound futures, everything in the Deutsche Mark futures, and Swiss franc futures. And then I started seeing it in the bond market. Now I transitioned to trading just the SPOOS market because I didn't trade NASDAQ back then. It was just the S&P market. It was happening there too. And I was like, shit, well, let me just streamline this and get it down to a window of time where I only want to be focusing on setups to form right here and there. And that was the beginning of the macro. And that's why I've encouraged you last week, guys. You look at a 15-second chart. Look for relative equal highs and relative equal lows, because if you study them on a 15-second chart, you're going to watch how the market goes back and forth and bangs them, back and forth, bangs them, bang and bang. And you can literally sit there all day long and trade a 15-second chart, and everybody else calls it noise, but it's just literally like just anything else. The time frame's very short. You got to be nimble. And you can learn a lot by tape reading a 15-second chart, even if you can't trade the lower time frames. So many people are they're just adamant about, no, I need you to start teaching me on a 4-hour chart, daily chart, or weekly chart, or I'm not interested. Then get the fuck out of here. Because you're literally that guy coming to the Jade Master saying, I'm not learning anything. When the 15 seconds doing every fucking thing that a weekly chart, a monthly chart, a quarterly chart, a yearly chart, 5-year chart, doesn't matter what the fuck it is, it's price. But you're getting so many wonderful examples that repeat inside of just a 1-hour chart. 15 seconds is a lot of opportunity to see it banging around and take relative equal highs and relative equal lows and noticing the time that it forms these things. And I promise you a revelation in that, because you will see how one of the most used high frequency trading algorithms operates in the marketplace every single day, buying and selling all day long. You see it clearly on a 15-second chart, 30-second for some of the more significant price runs, but the real detail, you'll see it in a 15-second. And I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to go out there and spend some time delving into that, and you will find what you realize after seeing it. That's what goes on behind the scenes. They're running the price on a scripted basis, and it's on time. If it's not ran by time, you're going to have a random distribution of when relative equal highs and lows are being taken out. But you're not going to see that. You're going to see that they happen at a conformed window of time. Now, right away, that's toxic to some of you. Like, no, you should just tell me what it is. No, I shouldn't. I shouldn't be telling you any of this stuff. If we're being honest, you're not entitled to this stuff. But you have a wonderful revelation if you do that. I'll share with you 15-second charts for the people that don't have that chart. I'll share the morning session to the guys of a 15-second chart next week, this starting this week. And that way you can look through the chart and study it. And you'll see it. You'll note it. And once you get that, the whole idea of this market being scripted or there is no central algorithm, you're a full of shit, man. Every instrument has an algorithm price engine that literally drives the market up and down, and it attacks resting orders. It entices buying and selling. There's no buying and selling pressure driving it up. No more than the 3 or 4 ticks above the high that has a standing base of orders, maybe in tune of 250 contracts. But 2 ticks above that, there's another 300 handles, 500 handles, 10 handles above that, but it stops just above to bump those, leaving all that real juicy liquidity. You mean tell me that nobody's interested in being a buyer? That they can't just rebook and send that price higher to higher to higher just to absorb that liquidity up there? They don't want it there. That's why it never goes there. It's controlled. They leave that up there because when they start sinking the market, more shorts are going to enter the market and that liquidity increases. Because what you're watching is the net longs that the smart money's holding, they need to exit, the liquidity to exit out of that. So they want to build these big pools of liquidity above old highs. That's why turtle soups work. That's why they work. Linda Rash's book never covers that, and you can go and look at her book. Look and see if Larry Connors and Linda Rash mentioned that's the reason why the turtle soup forms. They just say they're capitalizing on a pattern that historically has been proven 70% effective by being contrarian to what the turtles traders methodology was, which was buying a breakout of 20-day highs and lows. You ever seen me using a 20-day high and low? Fuck no. But the concept of a false breakout, which I didn't invent that, they didn't even invent that. They just gave you a specialized system of entering around that idea or premise, which is why I think the book was great when I first got a hold of it. I paid $175 for that book. I don't know what it goes for now, but I don't regret paying that much for it because it gave me an insight about stop hunts that it solidified a concern I had that validated it for me. Because if these people are writing a book about it, then they saw it too. So if they saw it too, then hey, man, to me that validates it. It wasn't something I'm just feeling like it's it's limited just to me, which in trading can trick you. But if it's a large sample set of data suggesting something that's there, then the premise is probably having weight to it. Knowing how a turtle soup will form before it forms, same premise. Turtle